Ukraine is the largest country within the European territory. It covers 63,000 kilometers with a population of about 37 million. This nation has been at war with Russia for the past 10 years. Throughout history, the people of this great country have faced constant suffering. As a significant center of Eastern Slavic culture, Ukraine was invaded by the Mongols during the Middle Ages. In the following centuries, it faced joint attacks from Russia, Poland, and the Ottoman Empire. Then came the Soviet era, when Ukraine was compelled to join the Soviet Union. In 1986, the world-renowned Chernobyl nuclear disaster occurred in Ukraine. Following the disaster, there were several uprisings. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Ukraine gained complete independence and developed until 2014. But since then, it has been embroiled in political and military conflicts with Russia. Even today, the war continues and permanent peace has not been achieved. Tens of thousands of people have lost their lives on both sides, and there has been a wave of migration from Ukraine to other countries. Ukraine possesses some of the most fertile land in Europe and the world. The country has approximately 2.5 billion tons of manganese ore reserves, making up 10% of the global supply. Additionally, Ukraine holds 7% of the world's iron ore reserves. Approximately 25% of the world's most fertile soil type, Chernozem, is found in Ukraine. In other words, whatever you plant in this soil promises a harvest. During World War II, the Nazis realized how fertile these lands were and transported soil by train to their own country. Despite the ongoing war, Ukraine remains one of Europe's largest grain suppliers and continues to export. However, due to the conflict, cities such as Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, and Odessa in the south are currently unsafe for travel. For this reason, we filmed in Lviv, a city in the westernmost part of the country, to preserve daily life there. Lviv is a unique city with an extraordinary atmosphere and special character. It was the first Ukrainian city to be included on the list of the 100 best European cities. Its ambiance captivates every tourist who visits. In this city, with its warm tones, you quickly sense sincerity. Nearly 1 million people live in Lviv. Before the war, it could accommodate up to 5 million people, especially during the summer months. Lviv is considered the cultural capital of Ukraine and is located in western Ukraine close to Poland by land. It can be reached by bus or private vehicle from there. As the morning light appears, the people of Lviv begin their daily activities. These days, the weather is still cold and windy, with temperatures reaching 20 degrees during the day and dropping to 10 degrees in the evening. While people in other parts of the world enjoy the beach, those in Lviv are still wearing jackets and coats. The atmosphere feels gloomy and lifeless. There is talk around the world that the war between Russia and Ukraine is nearing an end, but it seems people are still migrating to other countries. Although Lviv is safer than other Ukrainian cities, many travel by bus and train to neighboring countries. Most waiting at bus stops are elderly people and women with adult children. Occasionally, you see people in military uniforms, likely heading to the eastern regions to fight on the front lines. The war has further weakened the country's economy, which is deteriorating. Beggar children sometimes approach asking for money, and there are many homeless people sleeping at bus stops and parks. However, some people cannot leave or choose to stay regardless. These individuals get into their cars or yellow trams at dawn and head to work. Despite the war, Lviv has an active transportation system. Due to the conflict and weather, the city seems generally quiet and lifeless. Most of the people who stayed are elderly. Young people and families have likely left until the war ends. By midday, Lviv begins to come alive. More young people fill the squares as if life were normal. Shops open their shutters and serve customers. This wine shop, for example, serves groups of young girls and boys, chatting on the sidewalk despite the cloudy weather. Foreigners are curious about Ukraine, but avoid traveling there for safety reasons. Most people seen in Lviv are locals. Tourists are few. Normally, Lviv's historic bazaar would be bustling year-round, but now it is mostly locals who visit. The good news is that Lviv has suffered the least physical damage from the war. Its unique Eastern European architecture remains, preserved with colorful historical buildings standing side by side, creating an attractive atmosphere. Since these buildings are historically significant, altering their exteriors is illegal, though interiors are used as shops and homes, like this stationery shop. Municipal workers in Lviv do their jobs well. The streets in the market and parks are clean, and parks are as popular as the market square. Ukrainian adults and elderly gather in parks to play chess, a common sight in many Eastern European countries. Young Ukrainian men in their 20s put on their uniforms to defend their country and will soon head to the front lines. Women sitting in cafes hope their husbands and brothers will return home safely. Everyone in the city waits and hopes the war will end quickly. While many are physically present, they are mentally distracted, worried about the future and loved ones, longing for normal life. Sirens may sound throughout the day, causing anxiety. Restrictions on electricity and water use may be imposed. The government frequently warns Lviv residents to prepare for drone attacks. Curfews may disrupt daily life, making it difficult to meet daily needs. Economically, Lviv residents earning from the service sector cannot earn enough. The city has received many migrants, making decent rentals difficult to find. Lviv officials are constantly expanding the city. Construction workers and new modern buildings are visible everywhere. Apartment buildings are mostly over, 5 stories high with balconies enclosed as additional living space. Monthly rents for new apartments start around $500 going up to $1,000 most. New buildings are designed and constructed by global leaders in construction with apartments between 60 and 90 square meters and usually 2 rooms. Since the war began, nightlife in Lviv has nearly disappeared. Entertainment clubs have mostly closed. The monthly income per person is less than $500, and the economy must recover for the war to end. On our second day, the weather was sunnier and warmer. The streets were calm and quiet, with most vehicles under 15 years old. While ultra-luxury cars are rare, cars are not very old. In addition to trams, yellow public buses operate within the city, stopping every half hour. Locals recommend ride-hailing services like Uber over renting cars, due to heavy traffic and scarce parking caused by recent immigration. Taking advantage of nice weather, young women frequently dress up and take photos in the city center. Despite the war, people remain motivated. Fountain pools in the city center are popular gathering spots for families, with children who spend the day playing and cooling off. Ukrainians have longed for sunny weather. Cafes are fuller, waiters busier, and girls often take photos or dance with friends. Despite being a war-torn country, many attractive, well-groomed people contribute energy and atmosphere, especially young people. They fill the streets day and night, some enjoying music cafes, others chatting. People are calm and talkative wherever alcohol is served. Some owners offer free taxi services if customers drink too much, ensuring safe rides home. Due to staff shortages, food or drinks may be delayed, so patience is recommended when ordering. Regarding physical features, most Ukrainians have black hair and fair skin, with many having blue eyes. Others have darker skin and brown eyes. Hair is usually straight or wavy. Their appearance varies due to Ukraine's large geographical area, but generally Ukrainians are slim, resembling people in Moscow. These two nations, Ukraine and Russia, are similar physically and culturally. Ukrainians often speak Russian, especially near Poland. Russian and Ukrainian languages share many idioms, and Ukrainians can understand and speak Russian fluently. Both countries are Christian Orthodox, though Russians tend to be less religious. Both peoples are extremely nationalistic and strongly attached to their homelands. Without political divisions, they would have few direct issues. Both are educated, cultured, and warm individuals contributing globally. The conflict arises from politicians' policies. Some extreme Russian nationalists deny Ukraine's existence, which deeply angers Ukrainians. Some say these nations originated from the Soviet Union. After its collapse, some became Ukrainian citizens, others Russian. Though separate, both claim similar ethnic origins akin to Austria and Germany, who share language, religion, and culture, but govern separately. Ukrainians have never wanted Moscow's rule and have always sought their own homeland. Today, they fight for independent territory. In my opinion, Russians favor authoritarian rule under a single leader, while Ukrainians lean toward democracy and freedom. These countries differ significantly in government as Ukrainians hold more Western and liberal values. Ukrainians are hardworking and practical daily but emotional about future dreams. They may be cold toward strangers but kind to family and friends. They dislike arrogance and are sarcastic toward those in power. Their current president was once a comedian before becoming the president of Ukraine. He was an actor, comedian, and a television producer, best known for starring in the popular TV series Servant of the People, where he played an ordinary teacher who unexpectedly becomes president. Ukrainians prefer to keep their personal lives private and really confront stronger authorities openly. However, when faced with difficulties, they have an unexpectedly high ability to organize themselves. Their ability to stay together throughout the war is the greatest proof of this. Russians, on the other hand, consider themselves superior to Western countries, while Ukrainians are more family-oriented. For example, Ukrainian men prioritize spending time with family after work rather than socializing. Ukrainians define a real man as one who truly cares for his family. Ukrainian women, however, are some of the most beautiful you would find in Europe. They're ambitious and individualistic in their careers, but expect men to pay for many things on dates. The same applies to Russia. Both cultures see paying bills as chivalry. For serious relationships with Russian or Ukrainian women, politeness and generosity are essential. Most women expect gifts, creating financial obligations. This is less common in the EU, where women focus more on personal development than social status. In Italy, for example, women won't expect men to pay for everything early in a relationship. And in Sweden or Norway, income is less impressive than character. In many Eastern European countries, relationships often revolve around a man's salary and a woman's appearance. However, I can say that Ukrainians are incredibly warm and friendly. If you happen to make eye contact with someone on the street, they are unlikely to act aggressively. Instead, they tend to smile and may appear a bit shy. If you are considering visiting Ukraine, I recommend steering clear of politics and war when talking to people in Ukraine. Specifically, avoid expressing any support for Russia, and do not mention Russians or remind locals of their suffering. People there generally do not want to engage in discussions or arguments about political and military events. Instead, they prefer to focus on topics that bring them joy. If you plan to live in Lviv, keep conversations personal to quickly gain trust. In this video, we have showcased the daily life in Lviv, Ukraine, highlighting Ukrainian cultural characteristics. See you in the next one. Goodbye.